Hey everybody, we are back with another Orphan Black review. And man, this season's getting really good, really fast. Where we left off last episode, well, first of all, obviously, spoiler alert, if you're not caught up on Orphan Black, you probably want to skip this video until you are caught up, because we are going to spoil the episode. We left off last episode. One of the Castor clones had just gotten shot, and we weren't sure if he was dead or not. And the shooter, who is the matriarch of the
cult family,
the Prometheans, I think they're called, or something like that.
Yeah, something weird.
She's the matriarch of the cults, the cult people, and she had done the shooting, and she was walking toward the barn where Sarah Manning was holed up, and that's where we left off. And
that's kind of where we picked up.
Almost, yeah. Almost. Sarah is in another tenuous position.
So she's hiding, and she does manage to get out of the barn when the matriarch enters the barn. They swap positions, and she runs down to check on the clone because she's just a good person. And she gets down there, and he's not dead. He's still alive.
He's shot in the what is it? Lower right abdomen.
It would be lower left.
Lower left abdomen.
He's shot in the lower left abdomen.
Which, since you're an ultrasound tech, how serious is that to get a wound there?
Well, being shot in the gut is not good ever because that's where your intestines are, and if your intestines leak, then you can get a really bad internal infection.
Sepsis, right?
Yeah, you can get septic shock. But that's not going to set in for a little while, so there's no major organs down there, especially for a guy, just intestines. He was shot in the lower abdomen, so it's not near his spleen, because if you're shot in the spleen, you are going to die in like a couple of minutes. So, it's a serious injury. He needs medical attention. He may have gotten lucky, and the bullet didn't pierce his intestine at all.
He said it was a through and through, which is good, so the bullet passed through. It's not still in there. But the one in his leg is. Yeah. And Sarah had to dig it out with a pair of pliers,
which was pretty funny.
It was kind of gruesome.
This episode was very Sarah Manning heavy. The story was basically just hers. So instead of skipping around everybody else, we'll just finish off her story, and then we'll tell you about what's going on with everybody else. So after she digs out the bullet, he passes out. Mm-hmm. So she calls an ambulance and gets out of there after stealing his hotel key and goes back to his hotel to figure out what he has there. And she finds that little lockbox that he had gotten last episode. And inside it's a bunch of journals and stuff, and she doesn't speak science. So she calls Cosima and sends her some pictures, and they basically figure out that what he did with those samples he stole was create a clone himself.
This was the main doctor guy.
Yeah, she goes to wash her hands, and the one who was shot comes in.
The hotel door opens, and a figure enters. And you're really not sure who it is, but it turns out to be Mark, the guy who was shot, and he gets the jump on her, and she's like, he's like, "What are you doing?"
He's mad because she called somebody.
She left him.
And left him. Yeah. And she convinces him not to hurt her. She's like, wait. I figured out what the journals meant. He takes her to the son, which is the clone that the doctor who stole the samples made. And he had actually died very young.
Still an infant.
I'm thinking actually, just based on the skeleton size, especially the skull, I'm gonna say that it was stillborn or a very premature birth. So they go to the grave, and he makes her dig it up, and the bad clone with the scar finds them.
And he shows up, and he gets the drop on Sarah and Mark, the other Castor clone who's there. These are both Castor clones.
Yes.
Scarface and Mark are both Castor clones. And Mark is passed out. He's shot, he's losing blood, and he's out cold. And Scarface gets, I don't know his name, sorry.
Yeah.
He gets the drop on Sarah, and she opens up the casket with the baby, and she's like, "That's the DNA you've been looking for. You can let me go. Everything's copacetic." And he's like, "That's not going to happen." While his attention is focused on the casket, she grabs a shovel and clocks him. And rather than continuing
clocking him or stealing his gun.
She runs into a barn and hides. And she starts to run up the stairs in the barn, and then she's like, wait, this is the dumbest thing I could possibly do.
It was like she took 2 steps and was like, oh God, what am I doing? And then came back down.
You never run up the stairs. So then she goes and hides. And there is another one of those things where, like the bad guy's coming, and she's hiding around the corner, and he's coming around the corner, and he jumps around the corner, and she's not there. That happens a couple of times in this episode. And I don't know, it's like they went to the well one too many times there. I was just like, oh, again? But that's the only fault I had with this episode. It was really, really good. And he does eventually find her, and by this time, Mark has woken up.
Yeah, he's come to again.
And he comes in, and him and Scarface kind of have a little bit of a heart-to-heart, and Mark, maybe, I don't know if he tricks him or if Mark is actually telling the truth, but he's like, look, I've been completing my mission here. I've been doing what I was told to do.
Yeah, I did what I had to do to complete my mission. I'm not off grid. This is what I had to do.
Yeah. And I think, I'm almost positive that Mark is lying. He's just saying what he has to do to get out of this alive.
Yeah.
But Scarface cracks Sarah's head across the beam in the bar, and she's not out cold, but out of it.
Yeah, she's down.
And while Mark and Scarface hug it out, Sarah kind of looks on, and the two guys look at each other and are like, well, we can't leave any loose ends.
Yeah.
And that's where the episode actually stops. But we do get a little bit of time with Cosima, a very little bit of time
with Cosima. Basically just, she's moping over the ending of her relationship with that French girl. Mm-hmm. I'm terrible with names, so that French girl.
It's not Cosette, because that's the girl from Les Mis.
Anyway, and Felix notices this and is like, no, this isn't happening.
We're going out for drinks.
So takes her out drinking, and
he signs her up for a dating app.
signs her up on a dating app,
and that's kind of where her story
and then the phone call with Sarah, but that's about it for her story.
And we also get another
Allison, though.
Allison has a really interesting story. She of course has become a drug dealer to finance her campaign for.
Well, it's to finance because her husband lost his job.
Well, yeah.
And to get voters for her campaign. It's not really financing her campaign. She needs voters, and like the entire all the moms are doing pills. So she's selling them, and she knows they're doing them. So of course they're going to vote for her. Why would they vote against her? She could just out them.
She's providing the things they want, and she has leverage.
Yeah.
So of course she's going to get their vote, and she's going to get their money.
Yeah. So it's a kind of a win-win for her.
Yeah,
it was a very smart move.
Yeah.
She is definitely the brains in that family.
Absolutely, yeah. Donnie's kind of an imbecile. But the guy, like the mid-level manager of this drug organization, he gets wind that his former guy has been taken over by Allison.
Yes.
And calls a meeting. And, it's a very kind of tense situation until we find out that they knew each other in high school.
Yeah, they dated in high school, and so they're like kind of more of a reunion in the car while her husband's out there like, oh shit, what's going on?
He's sweating balls, and they're in the van just laughing about the whole situation. Like, hey, we used to date in high school, and now you're a semi-drug lord, and I'm a drug dealer. Isn't this funny? So. It was a cute little reunion. You get the impression that the drug guy still has a thing for Allison.
I think something happens there.
I think Donnie might be in a little bit of trouble.
Yeah.
I don't like Donnie anyway.
I really don't like Donnie either.
And last but not least, my favorite character, Helena.
Helena
is a badass in this episode. Yes. The first we see of her, she's eating a pork chop, and it has a bone in it.
And she steals the bone. She takes the bone.
She steals the bone and keeps it. And throughout the episode, as it comes back to her, she's gnawing on this bone, and she's making a lockpick.
Yeah, which is kind of brilliant.
And it works.
Yeah. And before she even makes the lockpick, she knows that if she starts acting up, they come in, they give her a shot, and then they take her into a medical room, and
it's basically a cool down room.
Yeah.
Is what it is.
So what she does is she ties a tourniquet on her arm really, really tight, and then she puts her jacket on because she knows that's the arm they're going to use. And she starts throwing a fit. They give her the injection. They take her to the medical room. And then they leave her there because she's supposed to be out. But because of the tourniquet, the drugs haven't actually entered her system yet. And she uses the time to kind of explore before the drugs do seep through. And she sees like an experiment room with one of the Castor clones.
Yeah.
And she does manage to get back to the medical room and take the tourniquet off and completely go out, so that they don't know that she was out exploring.
Like she's kind of talking to herself. She has this.
Yeah, she has a scorpion.
Well, it's a fictional, so I don't think the scorpion's really there.
No, the scorpion's
I think
not there.
She's hallucinating it, but she talks to it. She kind of brainstorms with this imaginary scorpion, and she's like, to escape from the first box, you have to find out what's in the second box. So she uses that time, and she kind of memorizes the lay of the land. And when she does finally use that lockpick, she goes back to the experiment room.
Yeah.
And it's one of the Castor clones, and she takes the rag off of his head. That thing. And his brain is completely exposed, and they've got like electrodes or something in his brain.
It's like they're trying to figure out what the neurological defect is, because the our clones, the Sarah Manning clones, they have a defect where they get some form of chest complication. It kind of presents a little bit like tuberculosis, where they're coughing up blood and stuff like that. That's their defect. Well, the Castor clones have a neurological defect, and they start going crazy. So it's almost like they're trying to, use a live subject to figure out the a cure for the defect. So that kind of seems like what he is.
And as she's in there in the room with him, he's begging her to kill him. And this is where Helena has a very strong mothering instinct.
Yeah.
For a trained killer, she is a very protective person, and she does see him on some level as a brother.
Yeah.
So she soothes him. She's like, "I'm going to take away the pain. I'll make everything all right." And she does. His brain is completely exposed, so she stabs it with a scalpel and jerks it around a little bit.
Yeah, and kills him.
And kills him. At which time the alarms go off.
Yeah.
And she gets captured again.
And she even had a conversation with the scorpion, the imaginary scorpion, and the scorpion was saying, "What are you doing? Just leave. This is your chance to escape." And it's kind of like her humanity was greater than that other part of her, and she was like, "No, I have to end his suffering. I can't just leave him like this."
Helena is my favorite character. I think she's the most interesting character.
She's my favorite
and she is
too.
a straight up badass.
Yeah, she is.
I can't wait to see what she's going to do next episode, because next episode looks
next
really
episode
good.
Looks really, really good. It looks like Sarah is taken to where Helena's at, so that's going to be really interesting, because those two together are really, really cool.
But this whole time that Helena's been in captivity, they've been telling her, your family abandoned you, your sisters left you. So what's the relationship going to be like from here? But
I think Helena's been told that before,
Yeah.
and it hasn't been true. So I think Helena trusts her gut when it comes to Sarah, and I think she knows Sarah's looking for her.
Okay. I know this is a pretty long video for a review of one episode of one show, but there was
such a good episode,
and
there's
that
so much
in this episode. So seriously, if you haven't seen Orphan Black yet, why did you watch this video?
Why?
But
And
you totally should. You should go watch it tonight. Just stay up and watch it.
Binge watch it all night long.
Yeah. You won't regret it at all in the morning. You'll be tired. But it'll be worth it. Alright, so be sure to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, we do our Saturday Topic of the Week videos, so give us a suggestion for that. It doesn't have to be anything regarding Orphan Black or this video or any of the other videos that we've ever done. It can be whatever geeky topic you want it to be. We'll look through all of our suggestions, pick the one we think we can make the best video from, and then that's the one we'll do.
Alright, that's it for this video. We will see you guys next time.